Thank you, Your Honor.
Justice Carpio.
Counsel, in the Philippines, as in the United States, the agency that determines whether a drug is safe or unsafe is the Food and Drug Administration, correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Now, do you know of any case where a drug company appealed to the Supreme Court claiming that the findings of the FDA are wrong? The FDA said that the drug is unsafe, and the drug company disagreed with that, and so filed a case in the Supreme Court. Do you know of any case like that?
No, Your Honor, but I do know of 4,000 cases filed in the U.S. right now against Bayer and some other companies.
Yes, I'm asking you whether any drug company has appealed the ruling of the FDA on the safeness of a drug, appealed to the Supreme Court.
No, Your Honor, I'm not aware.
And if somebody in the Philippines a drug company will appeal the ruling of FDA here to the Supreme Court, claiming that their drug is safe, contrary to the findings of the FDA, what do you think will the Supreme Court do?
If there is a finding?
No, yes, the FDA said this drug is not safe for consumption. The drug company disagreed and came here. What should be the decision of the court?
I think this court is not a trier of facts, Your Honor.
No,
so
I mean, it's an appeal.
On appeal. If it's appealed based on a pure question of facts, I think that
they appealed on a question of technical findings. They have their experts who say that the drug is safe. The FDA found it to the contrary, the drug is not safe. So what do you think should the Supreme Court do?
Well, I think if the Supreme Court believes that the case is of importance and there is a possible grave abuse of discretion on the part of...
Absent fraud, let us say, it's, as I said, it's on a technical issue. They have experts on both sides.
I think the court may have to defer to the decision of the FDA.
Yes, because we cannot determine whether the drug is safe or unsafe on those grounds, correct?
That's correct.
In the absence of fraud, we cannot overrule the FDA because we are not competent on that issue, correct, counsel?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay. Now, let's go to religious freedom. Did I hear you right when you said that a law passed by Congress which conflicts with the religious doctrine or belief of a group will be unconstitutional as far as that group is concerned because it will violate their freedom of religion?
Yes, if there will be coercive action.
No.
Yeah.
Yes, there will be coercive action.
Yes.
For example, bigamy and concubinage are crimes under the revised penal code.
Correct.
And there is a religious group that practices bigamy and concubinage, and they will say, no, we don't commit those crimes because that is part of a religious belief. You believe them? Do you think that they are correct?
This honorable court in Escritor appears to have taken that position, Your Honor.
That is an administrative case. Did the court in Escritor say that the concubinage and bigamy will not apply to the members of the Jehovah's Witness?
No, Your Honor, but there is an implication to that effect here.
But that was not, as Justice Leonen said, that was not a majority rule.
I understand, Your Honor.
So my question is, you still believe that if positive law passed by Congress conflicts with your religious belief, that positive law is void, unconstitutional, because it violates your religious freedom. That is your position.
My position is that if there is a compelling state interest that will trump religious freedom...
so you're changing it now. If there is a compelling state interest...
Yes. Because free exercise has never been considered absolute. I think no right is absolute. So between the higher interest of the state, like the one in the U.S. case of Dennis versus U.S. or Schenck versus U.S., where the survival of the state was at issue, then obviously it will have to override individual freedoms.
So in this case, in my earlier case, where there is a religious group that practices bigamy and polygamy and concubinage is part of their religious belief, they cannot raise the defense of religious freedom against charge of bigamy.
I think they can't.
They cannot, or they can?
They cannot raise that because that is a law that is neutral and of general application.
Okay, supposing there is a religious group that uses marijuana in their religious ceremony, and we have a law here banning, outlawing possession or use of marijuana. Can they raise the defense of religious freedom if they use marijuana in the religious ceremony?
They can raise, but I think this honorable court will...
what is your position? Is that, can they raise that on the ground of, on the constitutional ground of religious freedom?
They can, but I think the better judgment is that...
It's not a valid ground.
It's not a valid ground because the act itself is pernicious by its very nature.
Okay. Let's go to responsible parenthood. That phrase is in the Constitution, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So that phrase includes the right of a family to determine its ideal size.
That's part of it, Your Honor. That's correct.
And to determine the ideal size, you may have to space the birth of their children, correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
And how do you space the birth of your children? So to do that, worldwide, most people use contraceptives, correct?
Probably, Your Honor, yes.
As long as it does not violate the right to life. From the moment the ovum is fertilized, that's protected already. But if the contraceptive prevents union of the egg and the sperm, that will be okay by text of the law.
By text of the law, you're correct, Your Honor.
Okay. Now, let's go to... the RH law addresses the reproductive health of women. Now, you said that it does not address the other diseases like diabetes, cancer, maybe tropical diseases like malaria. And because of that, does that make the law unconstitutional because it does not address other issues?
It makes the law arbitrary, Your Honor, because in terms of
if
degree...
the law is arbitrary, it becomes unconstitutional?
Yes, because that would constitute grave abuse of discretion.
So you are saying that to be constitutional, the RH law must not only address the health needs of women, but also the health needs of other people, like people in the mountain where there is malaria, dengue, etc., to be valid, to be constitutional. That's your position.
Under the Equal Protection Clause, yes, Your Honor.
Under the Equal Protection Clause. Oh, then we will have a lot of laws that we will have to strike down, Counsel. You also said that the RH law will result in aging of the population, and that's one of your objections, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, to declare a law unconstitutional, we have to find the specific provision of law that is in conflict, a specific provision of the Constitution that is in conflict with the law, and the conflict must be irreconcilable, correct?
Yes, correct, Your Honor.
So, tell me, how will the RH law be unconstitutional on the ground that it will possibly result in an aging population?
There is a provision in the Constitution which says, Your Honor, that the state shall affirm labor as a major social economic force. And if we relate that to our strength in relation to other countries, meaning our population, our young workforce, to control population to the extent that you will limit our workforce in the future, our viability in the future, will violate the particular provision in Article 2.
Okay, so your position is the greater our population, the greater will our workforce be. That's your premise.
Yes, Your Honor.
But isn't it better to have a smaller workforce but highly skilled so that they will be highly paid instead of sending 11 million of our people abroad, leaving their families here? Maybe we can send only 1 million and they will all be managers, presidents of companies. We'll probably get $24 billion a year also. Wouldn't it be that better?
Only for now, Your Honor, but they will also get old and they will die. Who will replace them?
But you don't have to
So
have
that's
hundreds of millions of Filipinos to generate 1 million highly skilled managers.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, Counsel, that's all. Thank you.